What's up, y'all? Senior Cheesecakes here with my guide on how to beat the Ashes of the Damned Easter Egg boss, even if you're as mid as I am. First off, I will go over the Gobblegums. What I went in with was a Phoenix Down, a Shields Up, and a Near-Death Experience, as well as Ether Shroud on my field upgrade. These should set you up for success when you're actually doing the boss fight. Then I would say another tip is to make sure that you're using the turret as much as possible, because this will be your major source of damage throughout the fight, because you'll be able to do it where most folks will be running around trying to avoid the zombies. Something I could say when you are using that turret, even if there's not critical spots showing up, if you try to focus on either the mouths or those top four like small heads, you might sometimes get 2,000 hits, 2,000 as the HP being hit, as opposed to the 1,000 that normally shows if you're just hitting the straight up body. So if you can, try to see if you can focus on those extra spots. Next up, communication is key, because you want to make sure to call out to the driver whenever the boss is in the middle, so that we can do that charge up shot, because they won't always be seeing the boss. A lot of times they're just focusing on what's in front of them, so they won't be able to see when it is a good time to actually make a sharp left or a sharp right to go and do that charge shot. But it is important also, when that spinning phase pops up, to focus on that top, those four small heads, or how many heads there are in that top little knot above the boss's head. You want to shoot at that, because that will release these wisps around the stage that the driver will be able to hit into. That'll then imbue the car with a force, basically, that you'll be able to hit into the boss with, that'll hit them for extra damage. So you want to call out as well as focus on shooting up at the top, so the driver knows exactly what they should be doing at any point. Communication also comes very important for you to kind of coordinate when the car is about to break. The driver has the best kind of information when it comes to that, so they can keep an eye on it and give a heads up to the driver, or just say, hey, when this is about to break, I will throw out my monkey bomb as soon as we stop. Please be ready to cover me, blah, blah, blah. This way you know exactly what the game plan is once you do get hit, because it's an inevitability at that point. Once you see the vehicle that low on health, you want to make sure to just give a heads up. Also, you don't want to waste your resources. If you're both throwing out monkeys as soon as you stop, that's not going to save anyone. You're using up that resource that you could have used for the next breakage or whatever. Next up is to always save your shots on the turret for those red critical spots that open up. You know that they're going to come up after the spinning attacks. Once you hit with your vehicle on the boss, it will do that pause where that big critical spot opens up. Save your shots for that, because you want to make sure that you're taking full advantage of that extra damage that you'll be doing throughout that. So make sure that you have as many shots as possible to aim straight up and get as many of the damage in as possible. Next up is during that large beam stage. It is one of the most difficult sections of the fight overall, at least to me personally. But what you need to do is either try to time it right, so that you're interrupting that beam before it's actually shot. This will instantly stop it, and you'll get an extra hit in. This way you're still giving out damage, and your teammates won't have to struggle trying to avoid that beam. Otherwise, you can try to avoid the beam yourself in the truck behind, say, like some pillars in the corner. It sometimes works. They don't have full coverage, so it's not going to fully save you. So your best bet is usually to interrupt that if you can at any point. Next up is just communication overall is once again super important during this fight. The more you communicate with your teammates, the more they'll be aware of exactly what's going on, what you're about to do. You don't want two near-death experiences going at once, because of what's that going to help? You want to make sure that if someone's popping or using some kind of resource, that everyone knows and everyone's aware if they should be avoiding. Say that the beam is about to pop and you know that you can't interrupt it, give a heads up to everyone so that they know that they have to hide. This is one of the more vocal, like the more communication focused boss fights I've experienced, at least so far within the series. But like I said, it is super important to just make sure you overshare on what you're doing, because you want to make it as easy as possible for everyone else. But lastly, after you've completed it, fingers crossed you have, make sure that you actually grab that relic at the end. So make sure you say yes to continuing the game after ending it, after you beat the boss fight. And after that, you should open up over at Blackwater Lake, and you will see that relic in front of you, as well as like all those extra goodies that they tend to give you at the end of the game after you beat the Easter egg. Well, y'all, thank you very much for listening. This was Senior Cheesecakes with my tips on how to beat the Ashes of the Damned Easter egg boss fight. Thank you very much again for listening. Y'all take care.